Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend. I am your host, Prince's Friend. So last week, and it has been a whirlwind of a week, I released a video which was called Why Andre Cymone Left Prince's Band Pre-Revolution. And this was an interesting video for me to do. I actually read a lot of different books, and I read a lot of different interviews with people. I thought that I had done my due diligence. I did say a couple of things that were incorrect in the video, little minor things, and I thought at least. But what ended up happening was over the course of this week, and I've been terrible at getting back to them, but finally we are now, I got contacted by someone in Andre Cymone's camp, and they were saying, hey, most of the stuff that you said is not true. Practically all of it is BS. Now, it's not that they're saying, hey, you suck, stop that. It's more along the lines of that a lot of the history has been twisted over time, and all of these stories that we've all heard as being Prince friends are actually not true, is what they're saying. So less, attacking, Prince's Friend, the channel, or me specifically, but more attacking the stories. And of course, like I said, I did a lot of research, read a lot of books. Of course, most of those things were other people talking about the interaction between Prince and Andre from an outside perspective. And I read a couple of interviews with Andre, but not a ton of them spoke specifically to the subject of Prince. But I was hip to some new information from Andre himself, and I did want to go ahead and report on that. What I have done as well is this is going to be a companion piece to the other video. The other video I have now marked as rumors about why Andre Cymone had left Prince's band. And this one is going to be why Andre left Prince's band in Andre's own words. If you want to stay in the loop, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you are notified directly whenever we put out a new video. So first we should go ahead and clear up a few of the misconceptions that we had in the last video. The first one is that Prince did not give Andre Cymone his name. They all had cool names that they were coming up with, but Prince didn't give it to him. He came up with it himself. That seemed to be a huge sticking point, so I definitely want to make note of that. So the question here was also Do Me Baby. It wasn't the bass line from Do Me Baby that I had heard recently. It was actually that Do Me Baby was written when Pepe William and Andre and Prince were writing songs all together. And there was a song that was written for Andre's girlfriend, which was called Ooh What You Do, which is a lyric in the song. And Prince ended up kind of taking it and kind of making his own thing out of it, but it was pretty much Andre's song. So there was that. However, in an interview that I was hip to, it turned out that it was one of many songs that Andre had written, and he didn't mind Prince using that song. Now, there was another song though that was kind of in question that I didn't even mention in the other video, and that was for Let's Rock, which ended up becoming Let's Work. Now that song was apparently something that they were all working together, Prince and Matt and Bobby and Andre, and they were working on a jam, and then this was apparently common of what Prince would do, is that they would all kind of jam, and then Prince would find a piece that he liked, and then he would go make a song out of it. And a lot of people were like, hey, wasn't that Andre's piece? Wasn't that the thing that Andre came up with? And apparently, from what I've gotten, their relationship was not adversarial at all. It was actually very loving, which is cool. I actually prefer this version. The other version really made it seem like there was a lot of animosity and a lot of negativity, but I actually really like this because this is how you want bands and music and stuff to all happen, is you want it to be kind of a flowing, kind of fun experience for everybody involved. Apparently, everybody made a big deal about how that was, Andre's song, but really he was just like, no, that's cool, like, yeah, he can totally, go and do that. Also, even though what I had gotten from a lot of the stuff that I had read was that he and Prince were supposed to do the time together. I'm getting conflicting stories now because one, the others are like, oh, well, I misconstrued that, or this was, just opinion. This is a completely different thing in that Andre had an idea that he was going to be coming up with a separate group that was going to be like the time, and they had some butting heads, but that wasn't a core factor as to why Andre left. The real reason why Andre left was that he told Prince that he was going to do 3 albums with him. He said he was going to work with him for 3 albums, and apparently he actually was in the studio on all of his first 3 albums and, said, we're doing this together and this is awesome that you got the record deal. And apparently Prince had asked him to stick around and be a part of his musical journey. And Andre said, no, dude, they signed you go do your thing. And since you're apparently flying high, I'm going to go build something now that's mine. And there was a really good thing that he said that I thought was really kind of a good end cap to this discussion. And it's that he said he spent 3 years of his life helping somebody else get their dream. And he didn't want to lose himself in something that someone else was creating. He wanted to go out and create his own thing. And he definitely did that. He went out and he made a lot of his own music, and it was very different from what he had been doing before, which I think is actually pretty cool. You can go check out the review that I did for his very first album. I plan on doing a review for his album 1969 pretty soon here, probably after the new year. Oh, and the Dance Electric was on Andre's third album, not his second. I misspoke in the last video. But another one of those rumors that we had kind of heard about was that Andre and Prince were so heated and they hated each other so much that Andre's mom called and asked Prince to donate a song, and that was the Dance Electric. And I have heard that story a million billion times. However, apparently that is not true. After Andre left, Prince would show up in his studio and hang out and, listen to his music. Andre would, occasionally go out and hang out because Prince wanted him to hear his latest song. And, there was kind of a back and forth, even though they were separated now, there was still that brotherly kinship. And the way that Andre tells it is that Prince wrote the Dance Electric and then called him up and said, hey, I think this is a track you might like. So if you want it, it's yours. Which, you know what? Honestly, that makes even a little bit more sense. We all know that, Prince kind of was a little bit petty, and he had his moments. He obviously did have a slap at Andre with We Hate the New Wave on the Time album and all kinds of stuff. However, there was quotes from Jill Jones that said, when Prince loved you, he didn't give you a gift, he gave you a song or he gave you an album. So this is not unknown for him to have done. So I prefer this version of the story. And it's right out of Andre's mouth. And I'll put a link to an interview that I found. And I definitely want to thank the people from Andre Cymone's camp who contacted me, because, I want this channel to be as correct as possible. The goal here was not to besmirch anybody and make Prince seem like he's the star of the show and Andre sucks. I actually have a lot of respect for Andre. I actually really like a lot of his music, especially his music now that he's coming out with in the 2010s. And in the comments, a lot of people were like, well, he's just, jealous. And I'm like, nothing in what... Even in the original stories that I told that we're now finding out to not be true, nothing in that made Andre seem like he was petty. It sounded like there was a rivalry and Prince wasn't afraid to step on people. But of course now in the telling that we're getting now, that wasn't really the case. There was a follow-up that I had, and it was, why didn't Andre Cymone listen to any of Prince's music then afterwards? Because that particular piece, I think, was the thing that was like the clincher right there. That's what made this story tragic. Not that he had to be a fan. He didn't have to be, running around and at all of his shows and all that stuff. And I understand loving things, but really kind of focusing on your own thing. But, the fact that in the interview with the Star Tribune, he said, I had never heard any of his albums. I didn't listen to him. Like, yes, of course he heard him on the radio and whatnot, but he didn't listen to him. Now, in an interview, the one I'm going to link to, he did say that it was because he was so close, and he couldn't be a fan of Prince because they were so close. But I'm not going to speculate on anything. I think that you can just take his words for what they are. I want everybody to go read the article because it was from earlier this year, and I think it's pretty good. And I think that it honestly disputes all of the stuff that was in the last video, and also disputes a lot of the rumors and everything that's out there. So I want you to go read that article. That's going to be linked in the description, and let's continue the discussion here. I find a lot of the time that there is one side of the story and the other side of the story, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. You know, we have one side that's saying that everything was a mess and there were hurt egos and everybody was an ass. And we have the other side that says, no, everything was hunky-dory. And I bet it's somewhere in the middle. That's all I can say. But again, the original video was not to show any disrespect to Andre. I love Andre. And I've been banging 1969 here for quite a bit here, so it's all about love for one another here, and this video is about setting the record straight. Now, what do you think? Let's continue the discussion, and don't forget to hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. Check out the Patreon at patreon.com/princessfriend, and as always, may you live to see the dawn. You know, something I don't often ask you guys all to do, but share these videos. It's super duper important, and it's what real friends do. So share these everywhere, and we can keep growing this community, and I'll see you in the next video.